is a Kentucky Fried Chicken school.
Yep, today we're making the Colonel's original recipe.
What have you learned?
Fresh chicken makes the best chicken.
And that we use 11 herbs and spices.
Oh, but that's the Colonel's secret. And special pressure cooking.
So it's always tender and juicy.
Looks like you've learned to make great chicken.
Only way to serve our customers right.
It's so nice to feel so good about a meal, so good about Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Fried chicken is a beloved comfort food around the world, and one brand that has captured the hearts and taste buds of millions is KFC. But do you know the story of the man who created the original recipe that makes KFC's chicken so risible? This is the inspiring story of Colonel Harland Sanders. Harland Sanders was born on September 1890 in Indiana in a small farming community. When he was 6 years old, his father died, leaving his mother to care for him and his younger siblings. Sanders had to help his mother in the kitchen as a child, which sparked his interest in cooking and experimenting with new recipes. He left school in the 7th grade and worked odd jobs to support his family. Sanders lied about his age to enlist in the United States Army at the age of 16. After being discharged a year later, he was hired as a laborer by the railway. He was fired, however, for fighting with a co-worker. Then he studied law while working for the railway until he ruined his legal career by getting into another fight. Sanders was forced to return home with his mother and take a job selling life insurance. And guess what happened? He was fired for being disobedient. But this guy refused to give up. And in 1920, he founded a yacht company. Later, he attempts to profit from his ferry business in order to establish a lamb manufacturing firm, just to discover that another company has already marketed a superior version of his lie. Sanders couldn't seem to get a break. At the age of 40, he was working in a gas station service, serving various types of food, and there was only one table in his place, and the fried chicken was not on the menu because it takes 30 to 40 minutes to be ready. But Sanders had a breakthrough by thinking about using the pressure cooker to make his fried chicken, and after many attempts, he got the perfect fried chicken in just 8 to 10 minutes, and he used his secret seasoning on them, and the fried chicken became a bestseller, and people came from all over the country to eat it. To enhance his sales, he began promoting his fried chicken. But his competitor Stewart was angry, and he ruined his ads. So Sanders got into a fight with him, and they threatened to shoot him if he ruined his ads again. Sanders and two of the managers visited Stewart after he destroyed his advertising again. And when Stewart saw them, he fired them straight, killing one of the managers on the spot, and Sanders shot him in his shoulder. All of them were arrested by the police, and Stewart got 18 years in prison, while Sanders got out of jail on the ground that he was acting in self-defense. Now Stewart is in jail, and Sanders have a massive sales, especially with the fried chicken, so he needed to expand. So he bought a large restaurant, and finally in his 40s he found success. But his bad luck hit again, and his restaurant burned down. Yet this strong guy built and maintained it, and when he finished, the World War II happened, and there was no tourist passing through, so he had to sell the place. But he didn't give up. After the war, he opened a new restaurant, which took a huge hit. But Highway 75 was developed, diverting traffic away from Route 25, where his business was located. Sanders knew this was the end of his restaurant, so he sold the restaurant at occasion for barely enough money to cover his debts. Sanders was effectively broke at the age of 65, following 25 years in the restaurant industry, and he soon received his first Social Security check for $105 a month, with just his Social Security check and a great chicken recipe to fall back on. Despite everything that happened, Sanders wouldn't let anything or anyone defeat him. After everything happened with Sanders, an idea came to his mind. Instead of opening his own restaurant, he could franchise. So he entered his car with his secret recipe and his pressure cookers to find a franchise restaurant across the USA. His offer was to list the recipe in exchange for 5 cents on each chicken. And every time he finds a good restaurant, he convinced the owner to cook for him the fried chicken, and if he likes it, they got the deal. It was a very tiring and stressful journey for him. He lived in his car for 2 years and he got many rejections. He heard 1009 no's until he got the first deal. Look how much he believed in his product and his dream after hearing 1000 rejections, and he is 65 years old. And in 1952, the first KFC franchise was awarded to Betty Harmon in Salt Lake City, and he said that his sales tripled in the first year. And one day in the afternoon, Harmon recorded TV commercial for his restaurant, but due to a stroke, he was unable to talk well, so his restaurant manager Ken stepped in. Since Harmon still wanted to be in the commercial, he would join Ken at the TV station and bring a dish of chicken to eat it in the background while filming. However, when one of the advertisements aired, a woman contracted the TV station, yelling loudly, "Mr. Harmon is licking his fingers." The story goes that Ken immediately said, "Oh, it's finger licking good." And this is how this sentence became the slogan of the whole KFC chain. And in a few years, everything changed, and Sanders no longer needed to go to the restaurants. Instead, everyone started went to him. By 1964, his chicken was being sold in 600 restaurants in the US and Canada, but he did not share his own secret spices blend with anyone. He sent it pre-made. Sanders finally made it big after years of failures and disasters. If you are not subscribed yet, you are missing out on all the fun. It's like skipping dessert after a great meal. Why would you do that to yourself? KFC was booming, and one day a group of investors led by John Brown came to buy it, but Sanders rejected their offer. Brown was surprised when he knew that Sanders didn't have a sales team, so he imagined how the business would be if they were aggressive in sales. So they came back and upped the offer to $2 million, and Sanders sold the company. Sanders was 73 years old at this time, and he realized that he needed to enjoy the last years of his life. And even after selling the company, Sanders remained its spokesperson and has been one of the most recognizable faces in the fast food industry, enjoying traveling for commercials and interviews, wearing the remarkable white suit and Western string tie that has come to represent delicious country fried chicken all over the world. But in 1971, John Brown sold KFC to a big food company, and here is where the war begins. Unlike John, the new owners changed the chicken recipe. They said the gravy tasted fantastic, but required a scientist to make it. Sanders visited many KFC locations and described the food as the worst fried chicken I have ever tasted. He went so far as to call the potatoes and gravy sludge and wallpaper based. He was so angry and harsh in his criticism that one of the KFC franchisees sued him in 1978, but the case was dismissed. In response, Sanders opened the Claudia Sanders, the Colonel's Lady Dinner House, a competitor restaurant, which led KFC suing Sanders. According to the statement, KFC strongly opposed the business, claiming ownership of Sanders' name and even the term Colonel. Sanders sued them in revenge for putting his image on things that he didn't create, asking $122 million in damages. They finally reached an agreement, and Sanders received $1 million. In exchange, Sanders agreed to desist from any public criticism of KFC and to rename his restaurant Claudia Sanders Dinner House. That restaurant is still open in the United States today, and it's the only one that served the original Sanders fried chicken. Sanders was a strong man, but he died from pneumonia in 1980. Sanders was an obvious real-life example of how passion, hard effort, and commitment to quality can lead to success. He started his new business at the age of 65 and became a millionaire by the age of 74. And as Sanders said, one must remember that every failure may be a stepping stone to something better. If you want to continue learning and expanding your horizons, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for our upcoming videos. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.